Here we go. The instructions: take a minimum of 5 selfies. Strike a different pose in each, or a different facial expression, or whatever. Send them to your computer through AirDrop or just email. And here's, I guess I have 6 here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I decided to kind of do the same face but different glasses and maybe a different background. That's enough for now. Make a folder that is entitled 00Intro. Open each photo and do the following to each. Choose Edit, Assign Profile, and adjust each image. So I am opening these, I'm dragging them on top of Photoshop icon, and I'm opening each. And so here we have the first one. So the very first thing I always do is assign it a profile. This is an image profile, or and this is a display from a camera from a phone, and change it to Adobe RGB. Say OK, and assign profile, Adobe RGB, and there in the next assignment we'll see that you can speed this process up, but for now we don't have too many to do, so this is not so bad. All right, so last 2, image, assign profile. Image, assign profile. They're all taken in the same place, but the next thing is to adjust curves or levels. Make sure all the photos seem to have similar adjustments. Save as JPEG so they are separated from the originals. So this is the next thing I'm going to do is go to Image, Adjust, and I'm going to go to Curves. Since I have the profile set, it's telling me that I've got this range of white to blacks or lights to darks, and these are all the ones in between. Just find the white point. So my first thing is the white point. We'll go over like what these mean. So that makes this, anything that is this sampled point of color is going to take it to the whitest white. And if I have a black, which I think I had to do over here, I have my adjustment. So I'm going to save. I'm going to go to the next one actually. So this one's a little bit more yellow. I'm going to go to Image, Adjust, Curves. I start out with curves, take a white point, and this looks like it might be the whitest white there. And for a black, I've got a black over here. That looks pretty good. These are kind of getting close to each other in color. So do that same thing with all of them and save them as JPEG. So File, Save As, into Photoshop, JPEG, not into your originals folder, just into an adjusted folder. So save, and I already did that, so I'm going to cancel. So each one of these would get saved. And what I have are an adjusted set of originals. So these all have similar color, although they don't. This is our first thing, so just don't worry about all that. The next thing I'm going to do is open. I'm going to close Photoshop, all these files out of Photoshop now by hitting Option key. The next thing I want to do is do a shortcut to open all of these in Photoshop. I want to open them in layers. I want to be in Photoshop, but browse through Bridge. Browse through Bridge. So it might take a while if your bridge has not been opened yet, but it's worth waiting for. So I'm going to find those. 00Intro, and these are my adjusted ones. So they're these 6 JPEGs. I've done these. This is all something I've already done. This tool here, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. Handy, handy, handy. So what I have are these, which I want to turn into a GIF animation. This is too big, image size. This is 2300 pixels, which is what my phone took my shots as. So I want to make this no more than 400 pixels in its longest length. This is a square, so both height and width go to 400. And I still have my layers, but then you likely will not have your timeline up, and so you'll have to get it, timeline, and it detached from, oh well, let me put it back. There we go. So we have two options when you do a timeline. You have a video timeline and a create frame timeline. We want create frame, and we want to go to the hamburger menu over here and say make frames frames from layers and play it. Let's move this up. I can't seem to get this. There we go. Well, can you see that? You can't see this. I'll put this timeline up here so it's a little easier to see. Play. Goes really fast. All right. We don't want this. We want this to play a little slower. So each time, each frame doesn't have any frames attached to it or seconds attached to it. So I'm going to select them all and just go to 1. And I know that this is still too fast. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe I'm going to select them all by holding the Shift key down and playing that. So maybe that works. So I'll stop that. This, by the way, I could save now as a Photoshop, my kind of Photoshop small version, which I already did here. So I have this to get back to, and then also File, Export as Save for Web Legacy. I need this to be a GIF, and if I play it now, this is what I would have. I want it to loop forever, and then I save it, and then I'm going to call it my portrait as a GIF. It's saving, and the way we see the animated GIF, my portrait is here, is drag it onto a browser. That's the way you can see it, initially. But then what you do is when you're uploading this onto the file, into the discussion, then you drag the GIF in and then add your text. So please upload your animated GIF portrait and introduce yourself by using a minimum of 150 words. Include your preferred nickname, common pronoun choice, your major, your interest and experience in digital art media, and anything else you want to share. So this has a separate due date. Like, let's say you wanted to do something, let me stop that. Let's say you wanted to do something with drawings, or you want to do something to your portrait each time. You could still do stuff in your Photoshop layers and then make it. But we want to have this done let's say within an hour, so we can all look at these, and that's our introduction.